Okay, hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my June and July reading wrap up for you guys. And what a great reading month both those were. I read 12 books in June and 11 books in July. So I'm going to show you guys what I read. And as always, I'm going to start with the first month, so I'm going to start with June. Okay, so the first book I read was Releasing 10 by Chloe Walsh, which is Lizzie and Huey's story. If you guys don't know about this book, then just know that it was very painful. Very, very painful. And because of that, I didn't quite know what to rate it. For my Fable and Goodreads purposes, I did rate it a 4. Do I truly know what my rating is? No, because how does one rate pain? I swear nothing good happened in this book to Lizzie at all, and it just feels wrong to rate a book a 5-star when it was like this much pain, because she literally couldn't catch a break for her life, and it explains a lot about her. And it's just, this book just proves that you never know what's going on with someone, because it just felt like this girl could not get a break and no one knew and no one understands. And even Huey doesn't really fully understand because he doesn't even fully know everything. So that's it. That's the first book. Okay, my 2 rereads of the month of June were Happy Place by Emily Henry and Mild High by Liz Tomford. Honestly, I loved Happy Place. Happy Place is my favorite Emily Henry book. I think I just chose the wrong time to read it. I just wasn't really in the mood to, and I didn't love it as much the second time around, simply because I just was trying to force myself to read. But this book will always hold a special place in my heart regardless. And then on to Mild High. I'm making a mission to reread Mild High and Right Move so I can finish the rest of the series, because I ended up DNFing book 2 and this was just okay. I love Stevie and Xander's, but there's just something about them that the second time around I was kind of like, okay, why am I reading this? And that's really hard for me to say because I love a good reread, but some books are just not meant to be reread, and that's okay. I did not have to. Rereading this was not was not necessary. It was really it. But that's it for the rereads of the month, which is really sad when my rereads don't hit as hard as I was expecting them to. But we progress nonetheless. Okay, and for the fantasy reads, I had 3 fantasies that I read this month. I'm saying this month as in the month of June. You get the gist. I had 3 fantasies that I read, and I absolutely devoured each and every one of them. And if I could pick a favorite out of them, I could, but I'm not going to, because they were all just so good and I did not want to put them down. So we're gonna go through that list with you now. Okay, the first book of my fantasies of the month was Metal Singer by Rachel Snyder, and this book was so good and it was so unexpected. When I tell you, I decided to pick this up on a whim. It was on my radar for a few months and I heard really good things about it. Of course, it was I heard about it when it was first self-published, and I didn't read it until it became traditionally published, why I have the paperback in my hand now. But the excerpt to the next book, when it literally takes place years later, because the ending of this book had me shook, had me in a chokehold, and you're telling me that the gap between this book and book 2 is years? I'm not ready for that, but I also need it immediately. So if anyone knows when Lightwielder, the second book, and this comes out, please someone let me know, because I'm dying for a release date and I check literally every day. So that is the first one. The next fantasy I read was Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry. I have no words for how amazing this book was. I, for one, was shocked because let me just tell you, Dabney Perry is known for her like 300-page cutesy romances, small town. Some of them kind of have like a mystery element to them. And when I tell you this is a almost 500-page romantasy, but I was sat for the plot. I can't even tell you how much I love the main characters. And I can't even tell you because I don't even have words to describe the love for my book. If I had to give a book 6 stars, this would be one of those. This is officially on my 6-star reading list because I will never be over this book. I already feel a reread coming on relatively soon, and it's only been a month since I've read this, month and a half maybe, and I just simply cannot get over how good this book was. So if you guys haven't read this book, I beg you, please do, because I have nothing but good things to say. And that's all. That's it. That's the rating. 6 stars. If I could give 6, I would. And then following that train of so amazing, didn't want to put down, if I could give 6 stars, I would. This one's a little more controversial because a lot of people were on the other end of that scale, as in like 2-star. Nope, not me. Silver Elite by Dani Francis. And yes, can I admit that this was a very basic romantasy dystopian plot? Yes, of course, naturally. But when I also tell you that I ate up every second of this book, I read this book like my life depended on it because I could not put it down. I didn't want to put it down. I don't understand the criticism because I loved it. And when I also tell you I need the sequels to all 3 of those books that I just showed you immediately, like tomorrow, I need the sequels. Have any of them been announced? No. No. I know that the sequel to Shield of Sparrows comes out in 2026. That's criminal, even though it's August, so we're close enough 2026, but that's still so far. But a sequel to Silver Elite hasn't been announced. Not even a title. I can't do it. I need them. I would pay so much money. I would sell in Oregon for the sequel to these books. Okay, now this series took me by surprise. This was a series that I read on a whim, and when I tell you I read 3 books in maybe 3 days, 4 days at the end of the month. Yeah, I ate them up. Now, I would like to give a little bit of a content warning. This is dark romance. This is a little bit unhinged. I was a little terrified reading myself, but so good. And if you can read dark romance, then I suggest you read them. So this is the Edge of Darkness trilogy by Lee Rivers. So we have Insatiable, we have Voracious, and we have Restitution. And these 3 books have changed everything. I've always been someone who liked dark romance. I haven't read a ton of dark romance. I've like dipped my foot in dark romance. I've read the Dark Force series by Runix. I've read a small amount of dark romance. So this was a little scary for me, a little out of my comfort zone, but it's like I fear I've unlocked a whole new genre and I've opened the door to dark romance, which is kind of scary, kind of fun, kind of exhilarating. But this trilogy really did it for me. I can't even describe to you the plot because that low-key unhinged, but You just have to find out for yourself and read them to know what I'm talking about. And I did read these on my Kindle, but then I needed the physical copies because just like look at them. Look at the covers. Look at the spines. I needed these for my collection. And they didn't disappoint. Okay, so I ended up reading that whole Willow Creek Valley series by Corinne Michaels. I read all 4 of them, back to back to back to back. Okay, I did bring my list out because I don't remember all their names, so there are 4 in total. So I read Return to Us, Could Have Been Us, A Moment for Us, and A Chance for Us. And I'll run you through the tropes. So Return to Us was like high school lovers to strangers to lovers again, single dad. Book 2 was brother's best friend. Book 3 was accidental pregnancy. Book 4 was fake marriage. And they were all actually really good. I think I rated them all like a 3. So fun, so cute. I didn't actually end up planning on reading the whole series, but I started the first one and then I just like needed something like quick and easy to read, so I did the whole thing, did the whole series, all 4 books, done. And now let's move on to my July reads. For my July reads, I'm going to start from my Kindle reads first, just because there were a really small amount of them. So I read 3 books on my Kindle. I read Face Off and Power Play by Chelsea Serto, hockey romance. The first one was enemies to lovers, like new teammates but they low-key hate each other, one night stand type vibes. Power Play was grumpy sunshine. It was accidental marriage, friends to lovers. It was kind of a lot of tropes mushed into one. So I think I rated Face Off a 4 and I rated Power Play like a 3. Power Play wasn't my favorite. It was a little slow for me, but I still am going to continue the rest of the series. I think there's 2 more currently published, but I think there's going to be like a total of 6. I'm not sure, but I might skip one of them because one of them is going to be Age Gap, which is not my favorite. And the 3rd Kindle book I read was Leave Me Behind by K.M. Morinova. This was like dark force, military romance, dark romance type vibe. So they were like, it was enemies to lovers because he low-key wanted to kill her. Yeah, kind of scary, kind of fun. It was kind of confusing because he was like trying to like not kick her out of the squad. He was trying to get her to quit the squad because he just didn't like her, because they're 2 like units before they joined this one. Like a mission went wrong. They were supposed to guard each other's, their units were supposed to guard each other's back. His second ended up dying and her whole squad ended up dying, and so she was like the only survivor, and so he thought that she was like kind of a part of it because why was she the only one who survived basically. So it was kind of like a little bit a mystery because again she was the only one who survived and he wanted to know why essentially. So that was that. And now we'll talk about my physical reads, and the rest of them were all fantasies. So I guess we're going to talk about the big one, which is my Zodiac Academy reread. I think I've talked about this probably 1,000,000 times on my channel. You will be seeing a reading vlog of me rereading this series. It's going to be 2 parts, potentially 3. So I got through books 0.5 to 5. 0.5 is no novella, so it's the origins of an academy bully. And I never read that the first time around, so that was kind of fun to reread or to read something new in the ZA world. But the rereads were Book 1, The Awakening. Book 2, Ruthless Fae. Book 3, which is The Reckoning. Book 4, Shadow Princess. And the final reread of the month was Book 5, Cursed Fates. I almost said book 6, but I finished book 6 this morning, which is my first read of August. But book 5 is Cursed Fates. And all I have to say is if you guys have not read ZA, you have to. It is the most fun and painful experience of your entire life because it's so good. But by the time you get to books like 4 through 7, shit hits the fan and you'll be in pain. You'll be in a great amount of pain, but it's like worth it. Because if you guys don't know, I ended up not finishing the series. I DNF'd 8 when it first came out. I got like halfway through it and I just like couldn't do it anymore. And by the time the next year rolled around when book 9 was coming out, I just like couldn't start my reread of 8. I just felt like too much time had passed, and it was either like I had to reread the whole series or start 8 over, and I just felt like that wasn't going to be doing it justice. So I ultimately decided to start from the very beginning, but that's such a hefty task that I've been putting it off for so long. But I finally started it in July, and as you can see, I've gotten through as of this moment I'm filming this, I've gotten through the first 6. So the reread's on track at a really good pace, and that's all I'm going to say about that. And so ratings, I think, are like 4 through 5s. I didn't change my ratings from the first time I read them, but my original ratings are some are 4 and most of them are 5, I believe. My TBR pick of the month was Lore by Alexandra Bracken. If you guys don't know about this, it's like Greek mythology meets the Hunger Games. And honestly, I was actually pleasantly surprised because I sound like a broken record at this point, but Greek mythology is just like not my cup of tea. I don't really care for it. I don't really just like love Greek mythology type books. I know there's a lot of them out there, and none of them are just like, ooh, that sounds fun to read. But this one caught my eye a long time ago, and I finally got around to reading it, and I rated it a 3.5. I was actually, again, pleasantly surprised, and I had a good time reading it. And then my last book of the month, which is ironically the first book I read of the month, was Fearless by Lauren Roberts. So this is the last book in the Powerless trilogy. I'm just gonna say this. This book did not have to be this long. I did rate it 2 stars, and I don't really understand why all of this happened just for the ending to happen the way it did. Because like, what was the point? What was the point? I genuinely do not understand at all. I just am glad it's over. That's all I have to say. That's the only nice thing I have to say about this. But it was to the point where I just like had to finish it. I had to find out for myself what happened, and now I can finally say that it is. I finished. It's done. It's over. Hallelujah. And that is my reading wrap up. That was all the books I read in June and July. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.